Welcome everyone. My name is Brian Falla and I'm the Marketing Manager at GoDataFeed. For those of you who are not familiar with our company, we are a cloud-based product feed solution. We've been around since 2007 and we've helped over 12,000 clients, and today we manage over 40 million products every day. We work with thousands of online sellers, from international brands to local retailers to nationwide agencies like Logical Position, who's presenting today. Using GoDataFeed, you can connect to over 200 channels, many of which can be seen on this slide, which I should also mention is available as a handout. A few key channels to note, especially with the holidays coming up, are Amazon, of course, Walmart, eBay, Google, Connexity, Bing, Facebook, and Polyvore. And this is what our process looks like. Our software provides one easy-to-use dashboard where you can take data from all of your sources, manufacturers, drop shippers, distributors, etc., and manage it, edit it, optimize it, and merge it into one catalog, then package it and format it just right for each channel you sell on. Now, this reduces errors and it improves the data quality, which, as you'll learn in today's presentation, is a key factor in winning campaigns. All right, now I'd like to introduce today's presenters. Ryan Garrow is a longtime marketer and digital strategist for Logical Position's enterprise team. Welcome, Ryan. And we also have Jeffrey Weiss with us. He's the owner and operator of Amos, a San Antonio-based party supply store, and its online store, amos.com. Thank you for being here, Jeffrey. So now, Ryan, if you're ready, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you.
Ready when you are. Okay, so today we're going to talk about holiday and shopping, and looking at the holiday shopping experience among retailers is kind of a battle. You want to win, you have a lot of competitors, and so a lot of the strategies we come up with at Logical Position for a lot of our clients involve how are you going to basically destroy the competition. And holiday for a lot of our clients in e-commerce is a make it or break it for your year. You're finishing out, a lot of them have fiscal years that finish up after holiday, and it becomes a very important money-making period. And so we'll talk through a lot of those strategies today. We'll talk about Google Shopping. We'll jump kind of through a quick history of Google Shopping, show some of the new things coming into Google Shopping this year that you'll see during holidays. I'm going to talk about some of the expectations of what should you be spending on shopping, what should your return be. Obviously, every client I talk to, every prospect, every company is going to be slightly different, but at least I'm going to give you some guidelines that you can kind of base your results against and kind of decide, okay, should we be doing better or are we doing really good? And then we have Jeffrey here that's really going to talk through some of the results that we've seen with Amos and the important holiday season for them. And then I'll finish up with some holiday do's and don'ts to hopefully give you some things you can take away from this webinar and prepare yourself to succeed this holiday season. Some of the things I'll go through pretty quickly for time purposes, but we'll have some question and answer at the end. So feel free to ask a lot of questions, and we can, after the webinar, feel free to call me directly. I love talking business strategy and just helping businesses succeed online. So Logical Position, we're one of the top 30 Google partners in North America. We've been a Google Premier Partner for quite some time. We're one of Bing's 50 elite agencies on the globe. We're one of the top companies to work with, and we've been in the Inc. 500. I think this year we're down at 700 on the Inc. 5000, but we're based here in Lake Oswego, Oregon. All of our operations among the paid search is here in Portland. We have, I believe, we're about 200 employees now. We have offices around the country. Austin is coming online next, I think, mid-October. We have the team that just got put down there, and they're finalizing the actual office build-out. Most of our SEO gets done out of our Chicago office. So let's jump into Google Shopping. From a high level, some of you on the call have probably been around since the days of Frugal. Free Google, it was a wonderful time. Everything free within Google was so great. Google quickly changed that in the spirit of boosting stock prices and actually making money. We've had to adjust through a lot of iterations of Google. 2007 was the first we saw Google product search. It was free, and then 2012 came, much to the chagrin of many advertisers. We had it became paid, and we had to start figuring out how we were going to measure return on investment. Late 2014, we have the latest iteration of what we're currently utilizing, and it is the they call it enhanced campaigns. Google did this. Really, their goal was to help all advertisers be able to get into Google Shopping as easy as possible. Kind of give Google a feed, we'll scrape it, help decide what you want to show for. The structure can be very simple, one campaign, one ad group, lots of product groups, and we'll just make it simple. Behind the scenes, Google's goal was really to kind of bump competition in shopping, drive cost per click up, and drive revenue for them. They succeeded quite a bit. Our goal within most things of Google, and I'll touch on a lot of how we do that, is taking some of that control back from Google, putting it in the advertiser's hands, and how can you control a lot of what Google's doing with your shopping feed. So this holiday season, there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of new things. I'm going to assume most of you have been on Google and seen a lot of the basic search results where you see the 4, 5, or 6 pack above the results on the side. But if you've been in advertising long enough or in marketing on Google long enough, you realize that the only constant within Google is change. Whatever what looked like yesterday is probably going to be different today. They're constantly testing new things. And if you're in different parts of the world or different parts of the country, you might see different results or different things Google's testing than I do. But I'm going to show you kind of from a high level some things you can expect to see this holiday season. Some of them you'll be eligible for. Some of them are in a beta that you won't be able to get, but you have to know they're there simply because you'll be competing against it. This one, the 1 pack, is probably going to become more popular this year than in previous years, where people are kind of end of the funnel, ready to buy something. You'll get one on the side there with all of the advertisers showing for it, and you can see there in that example you have used, refurbished, and new, all kinds of price points. The 5 at the top have the best ad rank in shopping, so it's the best quality score combined with bid. Google doesn't obviously tell you what your quality score is in shopping, but we see instances of it all over the place, and we've developed some strategies to help increase that so we can pay less per click and hopefully boost ROI for those clients. And we'll talk through some of that today as well. You have the filtered 1 pack. So this is an important feed structure, so making sure all of the aspects or attributes of your product are in your feed, something that GoDataFeed can definitely help with. I expect to see this quite a bit more for a lot of different products. If there are different attributes, Google's goal is to keep you on Google as long as possible. And most people don't click into shopping results, into the shopping system of Google. They stay on page 1. And so Google's trying to create that page 1 to be kind of its own ecosystem. And so this I would expect to see, shoes, clothing, all kinds of things where you can have different sizes, different colors, and see Google continue to evolve this system. And so making sure those attributes are correct and your in and out of stock is there, I think will be very, very important. We've all seen this search result, but the in-store is what I want to highlight on this. It's in beta. Best Buy's had it probably longer than anybody else, and they're probably one of the reasons it's still in beta. They spend a lot, so Google does protect some of those large spends to a degree on some of their new products. But Best Buy's also had issues with their in-store feeds and people going into the store and not seeing things that were supposedly going to be in-store. So if that Insignia TV on the left, you went in to buy it and they didn't have the 32-inch, they only had the 42-inch or 39-inch that's on there as well, people are going to get frustrated. So I assume that Google's still trying to work out how do they keep the advertisers accountable to having those products in feed. It's going to have a bigger part this holiday season for sure. And I think this will be the last holiday season that it will be in beta. It was in beta last holiday season as well. So I'm expecting it to come out, but just know the large advertisers get some benefits to having some of those in-store things. Also in beta that most of us on this call probably don't have access to the searchable inventory on mobile. So Home Depot, one of the largest spenders in all of Googledom, you can search their inventory without actually going to the website. Search their shopping ads, see what's in store. Lots of cool things there. So be aware of it because that's going to eventually be available for everybody. But that one is, I just think, a cool thing that's out there that you just have to be aware of if you're competing with Home Depot or some of those large Fry's, JCPenney advertisers. Also the carousel. Again, some of you have probably seen this. This is the in-market carousel. So if I search for a coffee maker near me, it's going to show advertisers that have the in-market, or sorry, in-store feed going with them. And so most advertisers won't be in that. But again, know that some of those will be filtering in if I'm looking just for a coffee maker. They'll have that carousel on mobile as they scroll through. I think they show maybe up to 10, and then you can go see more, and it'll pop you into the shopping platform on mobile. This is the buy button, so you can buy directly from Google without going into the website. And so this is also in beta, but it's a fairly cool technology. I'm guessing it's going to roll out first to Google Trusted Stores. So if you have the ability to get into that platform, maybe start that process now. Really, this is an attack directly against Amazon. 5 years ago, I was in the New York Google office where they have a lot of their engineers. And at that point in time, they weren't worried about Yahoo, Microsoft, Apple. Their biggest worry and biggest fear was Amazon. And Amazon taking Google searches directly to Amazon, so Google could lose revenue. So they're really investing, they have been for years, in a shopping platform and trying to make it its own ecosystem to compete directly with Amazon. And this is one of their direct shots here, is being able to buy within shopping and not even have to go to the website. Again, something that's probably not available to you, but you're going to compete against it, so there's going to be some aggressive tactics that sometimes you'll have to play to keep them from showing in shopping results if they have the ability to show there. This is an interesting one. I have not actually seen this one in the wild yet. This is general searches. You can actually search certain advertisers' products, feeds within the shopping platform. And so if I search for summer dresses, I can click on ASOS and see all of the ASOS summer dresses. And I'm not going to get, if I'm ASOS, I'm not getting charged until I get clicked on and go to the website off of that. Most of that has been in beta. It may be starting to trickle down to smaller advertisers at this point. It's something that's out there. And again, Google tests certain things in beta that don't ever actually get out to the general, but they just stop it because it didn't actually add revenue to Google, which is their goal on most betas. This one, everybody's eligible for. Finally, one we can all play in. You may have seen this in image results. If I'm looking for a beige couch, anybody with a beige couch in their shopping feed is now eligible to show above image results. And so I think they're kind of playing for the impulse buy. Well, when there's a high-quality image in your feed, it's definitely going to help in this case. Also, something just to watch and pay attention to, making sure you're not getting some, clicks that just don't translate into revenue or ROI. YouTube video. If you're running any TrueView videos on YouTube, I'm a huge advocate of YouTube. It's very cheap traffic, very targeted traffic. If you haven't investigated YouTube as an e-commerce store, at least look at it. Google's targeting, I lovingly refer to as super creepy, but as a marketer, very, very awesome. And the things you can target within YouTube. You can put these cards, which you see on the right side, if you're advertising for those dresses or those clothes, you can put a card there that they can click right to your website as if it was a shopping ad and purchase from your site. And the final one came out yesterday. I couldn't get very good screenshots from what Google released, but basically it shocked the look. So as people are looking for fashion, fashion is notoriously difficult in shopping just because of all the different things you can have and how people are shopping. But if you see a dress or somebody's looking for that look, they can show similar results based on scraping feeds and pictures that look the same. And so I think you'll be seeing that a lot more. You can't target it. I've had some clients that called me yesterday when they saw the article and said, hey, I want to target this. I think my product would be great. I'm like, well, yes, that'd be great, but it's Google. It's part of the shopping platform. We can't necessarily select this for specific products. We can just try to optimize and make sure the feed is showing for things appropriate for that. But I think it's going to be a pretty cool one specifically for fashion. Expectations. So again, this is a giant, it depends. Every client is going to be different. Every website is going to convert different. but some guidelines based on our clients' logical position and some averages that we have. If you're a brand with wholesalers, so if you are brands selling to, for example, we have some clients in the cosmetic space, and they have Sephora, Ulta, Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom's, Neiman Marcus selling their product as well. Your spend level, if you spend $100,000 a month on search terms and the search ads, you can expect maybe $50,000 on shopping. In general, and it's not a hard rule, it depends on your brand name and the recognition. Everybody technically has a brand, but if you're a local retailer and nobody outside of a 5-mile radius would ever search for your brand, but you sell online all over, this is not you. You would be considered a retailer where you don't have that brand presence, where people are actively searching all over the country for your brand regularly. In general, you're going to spend between 200 and 4% of your search budget on shopping. Sometimes it can be higher, sometimes it can be a lot lower. Sometimes there's so much money to be spent on shopping that we don't even get into search because the ROI is not going to be there for that advertiser anyway. From a return on ad spend perspective, if you are that brand with wholesalers, we expect your shopping ROI or return on ad spend to be higher than your search non-TM. And so if you don't have your search campaigns broken out into trademark searches, people looking for you and your brand, and then general product searches that are, if I'm looking for lipstick, I'm not looking for your brand, but if I'm looking for your brand lipstick, that's your brand. Separating those out, it should be higher than your search non-trademark searches because your Google is probably showing shopping results on your branded terms. And so it's going to capture some branded traffic as well. If you're a retailer, your search non-TM or people looking just for products, it's probably going to trend close to that return on ad spend. So if you're getting, a 10x on people, if you're Bob's Bike Shop and you're getting, spend $1 and you get $10 in revenue, and somebody searches for Bob's Bike Shop, great. They search for a bike, you're getting maybe a 3 or a 4x return on ad spend. I expect your shopping results to be similar to that. Again, always exceptions, but at least there's some guidelines from actual clients that we have and some expertise we have in generating those results. All right, let's talk about AMLs. We have Jeffrey Weiss with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day and talking to some people for us. To start off, Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about AMLs and where you came from and what you do?
Well, we sell party supplies, carnival supplies, novelties, store displays. My grandfather, Julian Amels, started the business in 1949 here in San Antonio. I took over in 1991, and we really jumped in to e-commerce in around 2007. We have one storefront here in San Antonio and the website, and the website's grown to over 50% of our sales.
Well, that's even better than I knew we were doing. That's good. So Jeffrey, you and I began speaking in March of 2014, I believe. And when we started your account, actually I think I have a screenshot here, your shopping account looked like that. You had 2 campaigns, Miscellaneous and Fiesta, and the reality is it didn't actually do what the campaigns described that they were trying to do. But we quickly utilized the feed that GoDataFeed had done to help us restructure the shopping campaigns. And thankfully we moved quickly, is because the last 2 months of that year were 38% of your paid search revenue for the whole year.
Yeah, that's right. It was incredible. I don't have the exact numbers with me, but I think that December of 2014 was our largest month of all time on the website to that point.
Yeah, I think we might have broken that record a few times since then. So visually, here's what here's what the results looked like going into that holiday. So that yellow dot is the account before we launched. The week before, you were getting a 1.11 return on ad spend. And then the first week we launched, and this, by the way, anybody listening, this is not typical. It typically takes a little bit of time to get there, but the first week we launched, we were at 3.66, almost immediately turning a profit. And yeah, the biggest difference in this case was restructuring the shopping itself. Each product got its own ad group, and the campaigns were really built around merchandising and how people search. So it wasn't just Miscellaneous and Fiesta. There were actually, I think there's 78 shopping campaigns, and 3,366 ad groups in the shopping campaigns now. And then, as Jeff, as you go out and find new products, we build new ad groups, and it constantly is growing. But the structure we put together really allows for all kinds of cool things we can do, and things we can manage, and reports we can pull. Before I jump into the structure, the return on ad spend you had for the 2014 leading up to us was 1.58, and then after us for the holiday season it was 3.25. So that first week was a big boom, and then we just stepped on the gas because that was still profitable in that world, and we were buying new clients. It was tons of fun, and we were able to do lots of really cool stuff. The benefits of the structure in our accounts, it's pretty crazy when you're able to do certain things. So we're able to get impression share by product. So we're able to say, all right, this product, Jeff, this year had a 72% impression share of all the searches it was eligible for, and last year that same product had 50% impression share. So we can start measuring the actual market for that product line or that group of products year over year. Are more people looking for this? So we can tell Jeff, hey, it's time to go find more of these products, more cascarones or more banners or whatever it happens to be. We can really measure that market and how it's growing, and do that over a time period, which you can get product group impression share, but not every product is guaranteed to have an impression share when you don't have an ad group for that product. And then using time periods is still not available in Google's current structure. You can get search queries by product, so we know how people are showing and how Google is showing this specific product. Most accounts I come across, you've got 1 or 2 campaigns, 1 or 2 ad groups in general, and that gives you a big bucket of products and a big bucket of search queries. And as of now, I assume at some point Google can change this, there's no way to match them up, and unless you have a product, 1 product per ad group. And so that's actually just cool insight and data, because people are constantly searching differently. I think the latest, some random stat I heard is 15 to 20% of all searches done are brand new to Google. They've never been done before. And so being able to see that in a search query report ends up being pretty valuable. Clicks versus buy. This one constantly surprises me. I don't even think I've told Jeff some of these stats yet. But in general, over 50% of the time, somebody that clicks on a shopping ad is going to buy something different in your shop. And I don't shop that way. My wife probably does, but maybe it's men and women shopping, I don't know. But we look at the numbers, it proves that people are buying things other than what they clicked on. So our job in shopping simply becomes we need to get the click and let the website do its job. So over the last 30 days in Amels, we had 732 transactions in shopping. On those 732 transactions, we had 1,943 products purchased. So a lot of people buying multiple things, a lot of multiple product orders. Only 16% of the products sold were what was clicked on. So we have 84% of the stuff out there that people are adding to cart or buying instead within this system, within Google Shopping and in Jeffrey's website. In fact, you just signed on, I believe, with a company called Fortel to help suggest better products, which I think will be pretty cool, and we're going to be able to measure that pretty quickly.
That's right.
But of those 732 transactions, over 50% of them didn't even have the product that was clicked. And the only way we can get that data is if we know, have 1 product in the ad group and we label the ad group appropriately, so we can then see it in analytics, say, hey, this is the ID of the product that was clicked, and here's what was in the transaction. And we match those up, and we can get some really cool reports. It actually gives us the ability to produce, some of our clients actually include profit margins on their feed, and so there's abilities to do that or put the actual profit number, dollar amount. We can actually create profit on ad spend reports. So instead of just return on ad spend, we can say, hey, you spent $10,000 in shopping, your profit on shopping was actually $20,000. And we can actually make adjustments and step on the gas or pull back when it's appropriate. And then the real advantage I like on what we do is SERP page domination, I like to call it. So many companies want to say, hey, if Google's showing 5 results for this product, why can't I get all 5? I want as many as possible. And so what Jeffrey has sometimes, what a lot of people want, is something like this on Picado banners. You basically have a monopoly on this one, Jeffrey. There's not a lot of opportunity for somebody else to get into this particular product. And this is, in most accounts we come across, if you had all of these banners in your feed, and let's say your large Picado banner on the left was the best performing, getting the greatest ROI on it, you love it, it's in a great position, you're happy, you see the numbers. Maybe your medium one, that third one over, 395, is performing poorly, so you bid more aggressively. In many shopping campaigns or structures, you might be cannibalizing your large and starting to show your medium instead of your large. And what we like to do is show them side by side whenever possible. And so we're trying to raise up the bids appropriately across all of them so that we're not cannibalizing, but we're just removing competitors. So if anybody on the call has Picado banners, I apologize, but Jeffrey's probably winning. So, but that's really how our structure really can play out on Google Shopping and show the results there. So some of the, by the numbers, is what we're able to do with AMLs after that first holiday season. So we had 2 months in 14 compared to the same 2 months in 2015. We spent 88% more. Revenue was up 97% from the previous year. Return on ad spend increased even more. The percentage of website revenue, paid search is just growing everything's growing, which is good. The AMLs brand is growing, but paid search is growing very quickly and adding up to quite a large number. Average position was up, so we were able to move up higher on the page and search. CPCs were up, largely because Party City is probably noticing you a little bit more, Jeffrey, and reacting, causing a little bit higher cost per click, but the overall ROI is still high enough because of the conversion rates on your site and things done this year. And that's what we really noticed within changing your account structure. So if I can get one thing across to you today, anybody on the webinar, account structure is so important in shopping, if I haven't said it enough. The granular build not only gives you all that cool data, it allows you to scale the account quicker. So the AMLs account, when we got into it, it's been running for years. I mean, you heard that he was using Frugal. So it was a mature account as far as the products being in Google. But most accounts that are mature end up in most agencies or most internal teams being kind of put on autopilot. You're saying, all right, we're spending $5,000 and we're getting the return that's okay, and we're just going to kind of let it sit there. And most of these accounts can't scale well in their current structure. If you step on the gas on certain products, you cannibalize other products, and your return on ad spend goes down. So you're constantly trying to fight that midline. And so year over year, we're able to scale again. This year so far, we are up almost 200% in shopping year over year to date. And so the first 9 months of the year, or 8 months of the year. So we're poised to have quite the holiday season this year if numbers keep on going the direction they're going. So Jeffrey, I expect a nice bottle of wine at some point. So
you got it.
Yeah, so again, it's that scalability that I think is the most important in shopping. How can you continue to grow, and how can you continue capturing that market share? Because Google is constantly growing shopping. It's their highest importance. Mobile and shopping kind of going hand in hand is really where they're putting their eggs and how they're trying to grow Google. So we'll finish with some quick do's and don'ts and some things that you can all take away for holiday season. Hopefully some of them can be easy, some of them might take a little more time, but they should have an impact on your holiday season. You really have about a month and a half to really get an account in position, because November 1st in e-commerce, the research phase starts happening, you have to be there, and then once you hit that week of Thanksgiving, if you're not in position and ready, you're going to miss it. So the do's. Some of these are simple, but they bear mentioning. Tracking revenue. You'd be surprised how many e-commerce companies I come across that are still not tracking revenue in AdWords. They may have it in analytics, pull it into AdWords. It's not a terribly complicated thing. I tell most companies to have both pixels. Track revenue with the AdWords pixel, track it with the analytics pixel. It can help you troubleshoot issues between them, but also they're gonna look at data differently, and each way of looking at data has value in different pieces of analysis. So track revenue. Have a promotion schedule. So have it and stick to it. Know when you're going to have sales. Know when you're going to have free shipping. Know when it's going to end, and just have that done, because if you're in the heat of the holidays, and you don't have that schedule already set and your whole team and all of your vendors know about it, things are going to get dropped and there's going to be problems with ad text not highlighting the right promo. Also, it keeps you from being reactionary and allows you to be very proactive and really push and drive the market. I've had clients that would get up at 6 a.m., look at the numbers, and then by 9 a.m. look at them again. And if they were down from the previous day or down from the previous year, they would put up a promo till noon. It was chaos. Their whole team was stressed beyond all reason, and I don't think it necessarily benefited them a lot to be that reactionary to the market and where they were going that year. They had some other things impacting some of that, but I like promotion schedules that are set that all of your vendors and team can be aware of and taken on. Take advantage of Google. It just sounds good, by the way, but taking advantage of Google really means if Google gives you extensions or things you can put in ads or extended text ads, take it. If they allow you to put, special offers in your shopping ads, do it. If your stars aren't there yet, put stars in. Anything Google has out there is going to, Google typically does it because it's going to benefit click-through rate, which benefits, your quality score, which benefits cost per click and benefits profit. So take advantage of all Google offers you if you can. Use an expert. So I put it in quotations because there are thousands of people that claim to be Google experts. Everybody at our agency is Google certified. If you're going to touch an account, you'd better have passed the test by Google. That's kind of like basics. So if you're going to talk to somebody about your AdWords account, have them send their certification over to you. They all should. If they don't have that, it's difficult to say that you're going to be a Google expert. I actually like stalking people on LinkedIn and finding out how long have you been in digital marketing? Are you an expert? If you were waiting tables 6 months ago, chances are you're not an expert. And so use an expert whenever possible if you're jumping into holiday season, because it is a difficult time and it's a unique time. And if somebody hasn't been through a holiday season before, it's going to surprise them, and they're going to have to play a lot of catch up, and it could hurt you as the advertiser. Test feed changes. So this is a do and a don't. So test feed changes, make sure that you know if you append titles and put, if you're selling shoes and you put men's at front, or if you put sizes or colors in at the beginning, and see how Google's showing it on search results with the appended titles. What's improving click-through rate? Do some tests. Make sure you're doing that regularly so you know what is going to benefit your business the best. It's also here, I'll go on to a don't and jump down to that one. Don't test changes during holiday. You know what? You should know what you're going into holiday with. If something crazy happens during holiday, you were getting a 5% click-through rate on your shopping feed, and then all of a sudden it drops to 0.5%, okay, yeah, you need to make some changes. But most large advertisers, major organizations go into code freezes after November 1st, like nothing changes, because the risk of breaking something, and we've had some advertisers, if you're down for 4 hours, you've just lost $2 million of revenue. Like, it's just not okay for some of those advertisers. It's such an important time. So understand that testing in holiday can be very dangerous. Don't ignore mobile. More and more people are searching on it. There are more people searching on mobile than desktops now. If your site's not mobile optimized, there's bigger problems at play for you probably. But you can test your site if you just go to Google and Google Think with Google mobile test. I forget the exact URL, but it's not very difficult to find. And they'll test and actually email you results of what they think of your mobile site. Just note, Google hates everybody's mobile speed. I've yet to see a website where Google's like, oh, your mobile speed is just perfect. But it'll give you some insights on things you can do to improve your speed and improve general feel of your site. Force Google. This I put on there. If you're trying to force Google to do something it doesn't want to do, like in the shopping algorithm, if you're trying to force a specific product to show for a specific search, I see a lot of companies trying to do this, it can get very expensive and actually hurt overall your overall ROI. Again, because we know somebody's going to buy something different more often than they buy the thing they clicked on, trying to force a product to show for a search typically will work against you, and it's not going to be to your benefit. So let Google show the products it wants to show, because it'll be cheaper for you, and then use the website to convert them. Setting changes. One of my pet peeves, personally, Google gave us all of these cool tools and cool opportunities to segment data and make changes. So these ones specifically that I have some issue with are location settings and time of day settings. So you can go into all these settings in each campaign and say, okay, looks like we're converting really well in New York, we should bid up in New York. And it ends up being, when you look at the data over a longer period of time, it ends up being changes for change's sake. So a lot of accounts I look at will have made all of these location changes, and unless you have a storefront in a specific area that you really want to just keep competitors out and ensure that anytime somebody may be in your storefront and showrooming a product you're showing there, it probably doesn't make sense to change location settings. And if you really want to do it, look at least 6 months before you make a change on location settings or time of day. Time of day is typically even worse because one sale during an hour period will probably make a big difference between unprofitable and profitable. So who's to know that tomorrow that doesn't just become the most profitable time period you have. So again, a lot of these changes are made by looking at small pieces of data, 1 month, 2 months, 1 week, where, ooh, we got a sale between 3 and 4 p.m. on the East Coast. We should bid more aggressively between 3 and 4 p.m. It typically doesn't make sense when you look at a larger data set. So look at setting changes, but look at least 6 months worth of data. Don't ever set it and forget it, especially during holiday. Conversion rates keep rising up until last shipping day. If you set it and forget it, you're going to go from position, maybe you set it and forget it at position 2. Within a week, you might be at position 6. We have some accounts we have to log into 3, 4, 5 times a day and raise bids during holiday. Even on weekends. It gets that intense in certain industries that you better be ready to be in the account on a regular basis. If you have an agency, make sure they're in the account all the time during holiday, watching your account, ensuring that you've got the results you need. Don't give up. Put this in there because your first holiday, if you haven't done holidays, it can be very rough. It can be very discouraging. There's an opportunity, I think, for almost every e-commerce company out there to do something in holiday and make some money. In fact, some companies, some of your competitors are probably on purpose losing money on the first order. Some of the very large spends that we manage, some of the more sophisticated finance people will be doing very crazy algorithms to decide how much they invest on the first order of a new customer. And they'll say, okay, we can lose $50 on the first order because we know our email campaign will bring them back 2 times over the next 18 months, and that's profitable, and we can't put our money anywhere else that's more profitable, so that's what we're going to do. Add another $1 million, $2 million to the budget. So know that that's out there. In certain industries, that's happening regularly. So some of your competitors may be doing that. You can't always assume that your competitors are profitable, and just because they're doing something means that you should be doing it. But don't give up on that, because what we're trying to all do is get to this money printing machine. That's our goal in e-commerce all the time. You're putting dollars in and you're getting $10 bills out, and then it just becomes a function of how many dollar bills can you find. I think the potential is there for most businesses. AdWords is not always going to be the end-all be-all. The websites have a key and conversion rates to do all kinds of things, but I think AdWords plays a very large role, and it becomes a very fun place to play when it's working.
So thanks, guys. Excellent information. Now, we do have some time remaining, even though we started a little bit late. So I want to move on to the Q&A segment. I already have a couple of questions for you, Ryan.
Okay.
But to help you and Jeff out, we also have Sean Daly pitching in. Sean is an e-commerce specialist here at GoDataFeed, and he's one of the most knowledgeable members of our team, so you guys are in good hands as well. First question, though, Ryan, you talked a lot about structure and the importance of it. Cindy wants to know if you can talk a little bit about how to structure, or like what should they be looking for in terms of structuring their campaigns.
Okay, easy. So it usually follows 2 general paths. Number 1 is merchandising. So what does merchandising want to see? So for example, the Dallas Cowboys are a client of ours. Their merchandising likes to see, hey, how are our men's hats performing as a group, and are they performing better than last year? We got some new hats in, we got put some other ones out. Were our old hats performing better? It's important for merchandising to know as they're planning and looking to add or take products away. Also, and that's at the campaign level. So we said at the campaign level, kind of merchandising groups. And And we also expect those merchandising groups to perform very similarly or show for very similar searches. So if you've got the Dallas Cowboys, they probably have 20 different men's hats. I expect any of those really to be eligible for men's hat search, Cowboys men's hats, Dallas Cowboy men's hats, kind of like the Picado banners, right? We expect all of the Picado banners of every size, shape, and color to perform very similarly on Google or show for the same results as that. So inside each campaign, we'll have multiple ad groups for each SKU. So if you have a hat that has 5 different colors, guess what? All of those child SKUs get their own ad group. I want to see how the yellow hat shows versus the red hat versus the black hat, and how are they all working together, so I can raise bids as a group or lower bids as a group, or find out that, hey, the yellow hat is really not performing well. Let me bid that one down rather than up and do some investigation. Let me find out, did I lose my most popular size of the yellow hat? Then now I need to wait until it comes back in before I bid it back up. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so we have another question that's specifically for you. Paula wants to know if agencies have a better rate than general advertisers when it comes to CPC. And
Ooh.
I know the answer, but I think you're better off answering it.
Well, what's your answer? You see a lot of the feed stuff.
Well, my answer is that yes and no. Well, yes, because optimized campaigns, better data, all those things lead to better CPCs. But on the face of it, Google doesn't say, well, this is an agency, we're going to give them better rates. I think it's more related to the optimization that goes into the campaign.
Exactly. Google doesn't give agencies benefits on cost per click versus another agency, versus an internal team. There's some internal teams that are highly sophisticated and very, very good, and they're going to do just as good as, well, maybe not as good as our team, but I have a little preference probably. But overall, it's the structure and how is Google rewarding it with quality score, and how are they giving you a cost per click, and what are you targeting and bidding. There's so many factors that go into that. It would be difficult to say. It's across the board, but typically experience and the results are going to dictate whether you would look at an agency or an internal team.
Right. All right. Sean, can you tell us a little bit about yourself before you answer some of the questions that you've bookmarked?
Absolutely. So I'm in sales and business development here at GoDataFeed. I also used to be an account manager, so I'm very familiar with not only setting up these feeds, but making the adjustments that Ryan from Logical Position and many of our other clients similar are looking to do, as far as adjustments to campaigns utilizing custom labels, appending titles and descriptions with those key terms that may help in benefiting these campaigns that they're setting up. So I am here as far as a reference to sort of help you out and answer any questions that you have regarding making those adjustments to the feeds that could obviously help with the campaigns and return on a lot of investment for you guys. So again, I'm going to mute myself, let them continue talking, but if I see any questions that come up, I'd be happy to jump in or answer them via chat, whatever's easier for everyone involved.
Actually, I have a question for you already.
Absolutely, go for it.
All right. Jennifer wants to know how important it is to have clean data or a clean data feed for improved results.
Well, it's probably at least the second most important thing next to your campaigns that you're utilizing in AdWords for Google Shopping. So Google tends to not show any products that have any errors whatsoever. So if you aren't meeting those validations that they have in place for any of your SKUs, those products are not going to show in your feeds. It's not going to show in your Google Merchant Center account. So the idea is to clean the data up from the ground up when we build these feeds for you guys. So we're using custom rules and business rules to fill in the blanks with missing information where we can. Remove any text that's not accepted. Remove special characters that is coming through with HTML. Use the custom labels to meet those campaign expectations that Ryan had mentioned. Funnel the proper products into those campaigns in AdWords. That way you're getting as much as you can out of them. A lot of times we are appending titles and descriptions with brands, colors, sizes, anything that makes your products more searchable, because the cleaner the data, the cleaner the product listing, the more traffic you're going to gain.
Gotcha, makes sense. And Ryan, maybe you can talk about how you can use the data feed itself to filter products into the proper categories or proper groups.
Yeah, so everybody knows about those wonderful Google categories and things you have to put in your feed to help Google show it appropriately. You can use custom categories even to help filter some of it into feeds. So we'll use a lot of that, when we export a feed to build off of. If you've got 200,000 SKUs, we manually build all of our Google AdWords accounts. We don't use any automation for building or for bidding. And so it's important to have a feed that's got the right fields, the right categories, and mapped correctly, so we can then create those categories around the ad groups and products that we have to get them to perform the way they should and the way they're able to.
Okay, makes sense. All right, we'll take a couple more questions. We're pretty much out of time here. So what clues should someone look for in order to find a quality score for shopping campaigns?
The clues I look for are cost per click. So if you make some changes in your feed or in your bidding strategy or in your overall structure of the account, if you look at your cost per click on that same product last month versus this month and you saw that it dropped but your volume and your clicks stayed the same and your impression share, so that's one of the importance in having an ad group for a product. You can see all this data and say, oh, we actually last month had a 50% impression share on this product. This month we had a 60% impression share, so it went up a little. We actually got more clicks, but our cost per click went from 42 cents to 39 cents. That would be an indicator that you got a little bump on quality score
Gotcha.
in that.
Makes sense. All right, and the last one I have here is, what if there are trademarks on the products you want to sell?
It makes it difficult in search on some of those products to get in there and use trademark, but trademarks in shopping, if there's products, like if you're selling, Apple iPhones, you can sell those and Apple iPads in shopping, and the trademark, well, if Apple has that trademark, you're okay. You just, typically you're going to have a lot of difficulty putting iPhone or iPad in your ad text or Apple in your ad text next to it. So shopping
in the search text, yeah. Not the shopping campaigns, correct?
Nope.
Yeah, great. All right, are there any other questions you guys want to highlight?
The majority of what I see was probably more beneficial for Ryan to answer. As far as the clean data and feed structure and things like that, I think we answered the majority of them that have come across. But of course, while we have a few more minutes, I'd be happy to answer any that are available.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and if anyone has specific questions, if anybody has specific questions to their accounts or they're looking for some audit or specific help, feel free to reach out to me directly. I think my contact info should be going out afterwards, and I just love talking business strategy. It's fun for me. Logical Position has made it available for me just to have fun talking to business owners all day. That's what I love doing.
Right,
so
right.
I'm very blessed, and so I love talking.
All right. Well, we definitely want to continue the conversation with you guys, so thanks to everyone attending. Thank you, Ryan, Jeff, Sean, and special thanks to everyone who submitted a question. But if we didn't get to your question or if you have additional questions afterwards, please find us. You can find us on social media, or you can email us, contact@GoDataFeed.com, with the title of this webinar in the subject line. We'll also send out some more information after the webinar with all of our information so that you can reach out to Ryan or Sean if you have specific questions for them. But for now, that's it. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.